Hi, Meena. Thank you so much for joining us on Blitz Business. It's a pleasure to have you. Let's get started. So, Meena, tell us a little bit about yourself before we deep dive into your business.
So a little bit about myself is that I have, I've been doing Astroyogi now. It's been about 20 plus years. I'm a person who is very deeply interested in spirituality. That's been something that has stayed with me for a very better part of my life. And I think a lot of that is what guides a lot of what I do. And that's come from books, that's come from being attached to, for the longest while, to the Isha Foundation. And then my journey within Astro Yogi itself and what I've been able to do in terms of helping a lot of people across the world. That has really, I think that has become a huge part of who I am. It's become like, they've kind of merged. It's like having a third baby. Astro Yogi for me is really, it's like having a third baby.
So, when did you start it? What was the thought process like in the beginning? People typically start, they have some idea and something, कि भई ये करना है, वो thought.
I think there's been an evolution in the thought process because what was happening then was that the internet was had just arrived. It was the year, in India, .coms were happening. So there was a lot of that, um, excitement in me to get involved in something that is completely game changing, world changing. The internet was completely world changing, and it was that zen to get into that into that space, very much like what we are seeing AI today. Absolutely, I think very very identical kind of an excitement was there to be part of this journey, and say, I've got to be part of what's happening there.
So, and the name. So, every founder I've met, कुछ story रहता है name के पीछे, something or the other. कुछ there was a story behind the name, or how did you come up with the name?
I think it was just we came up with some options at the time, and I think this one resonated the most.
Okay.
I think it resonated the most because of its very very spiritual background. The word yogi itself. In fact, our retail brand that we've just launched is also called Yogi by Astroyogi.
Okay.
So it's Yogi with a double I. So that retail brand is also, we've only taken the word Yogi for it.
So, you're opening like physical outlets?
No, not physical outlets. We've launched an online mall. We've also got tie-ups with a variety of quick commerce partners. So all of that is coming together for us to disseminate this.
Okay. Okay. So let's understand this segment a little bit for all of our viewers. So typically in this space, what exactly is the opportunity which you're trying to target?
So I think we're looking at a little bit. Astrology traditionally has, of course, been a very, very huge part of an Indian home, right? So that part of it has always been there. Whether, of course, a newer generation has decided that, this is in between. We had this era when people, kind of poo-pooed it and say, oh, we don't believe this, we don't believe that. And there was a lot of that going on. You will find now of late people are coming full circle back into their heritage, full circle back into owning who we are, and our background, etc. So there was, and then there is something that is a more recent phenomenon, but it's been there for a while, has been the mental wellness of our youth. And the mental wellness of our youth is something that is actually becoming a growing concern. There is that overlap between, I would say, your occult sciences, mental wellness, spirituality, all of that, and all of this is now coming together, and that is, primarily the reason why I would do this.
So what it's a very fascinating and interesting point you mentioned in terms of mental health. So what are the trends you are currently seeing? I think it's a very big topic and people have started to talk a lot recently. So
So the trends that we are actually, what we are seeing of late is that the demographic is getting just younger and younger on the platform. It's like, which was not really the case maybe 10 years ago. That was not the case. The demographic is now you're looking at anyone from 18 to 25. That's like the largest growing demographic that are actively seeking out advice, who are actively, I would say maybe they're lonely, maybe they're, you know, they just, because social media has so overexposed us, in a way that, and we have normalized, shaming, trolling. This has been so normalized in our lives. It was a decency, maybe the old school sense of empathy, kindness. So that's gone. And that's gone. And I think that is what is leading to a lot of this.
Touched upon loneliness. So, what is the top three, four these young kids? I will say, are what are those top three, four issues they are dealing or struggling with typically? Like jobs, relationship. I assume in one of these some category or bucket, right?
But pretty much what you're saying, I think relationships is huge. That whole anxiety related to relationships, the anxiety related to and it's a lot of, I think, self love issues as well, right? So especially when relationships are become very very complicated, and then we have, of course, more relationship types today than we ever did before. I'm in a situationship. I'm in a relationship. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. And so a lot of that is there. And yes, definitely, concerns around career. Of course, there's the normal, other stuff which is related to Vastu or related to children, of course. But by and large, it's your relationships and career, for sure.
So, is it fair enough to say like the relationships are going down the drain or something, or because, or what is happening in that segment?
Too much access. No, you got too much access. I've got access to everybody. Now I have an Insta profile in which I must look beautiful, I must look pretty, I must look perfect. My life has to be perfect. Like I cannot slip up, kind of a thing. And there's too much accessibility all of a sudden, not just to the guy next door. you know Instead of falling in love with the guy next door, I can fall in love with anybody, and I am. So you've got it. Yeah, it comes with its own baggage, for sure.
It's like too much access or abundance, too many opportunities. Is it like that's the
Yes, and it's creating tremendous anxiety. It's creating tremendous anxiety.
so then how does so let me ask you a question in terms of astrology, right? So my family believes it. I particularly don't. So for someone who does not believe, let me put it in that way, like me in someone's shoes, like I don't. So how do you convince someone, or what is that thought process, reasoning it goes through to make someone believe in this particular segment?
So I don't think, first of all, it's our job to force people to believe in anything. First of all, no matter what that is. But I would say this for astrology, and I've said this many times before as well. Astrology is a map. It's not the journey.
Okay.
All right, it's the map. You've got a kundli. You've got the kundli. The kundli is saying to you, Ashish looks like he would be great at the tech business.
Mm.
He looks like he'd be great at something in the public eye, his podcast. Now, doing it is on Ashish. Do you understand?
Okay.
Doing it, not doing it is on you. We can say, listen, you would be great. Somebody wants to be a film star. Okay, you get these sometimes these kids who are like, I want to be famous, I want to go to Bollywood. But now, can they still do it? Yes, they can, because free will always be greater, than anything else. But it's showing that your propensity, the universe will favor you. All right, will favor you
Uh-huh.
if you tend towards these particular things.
And
I mean, does that make sense?
what do you mean by yoke? I'm maybe asking very basic question, but
No, I'm not an astrologer. Don't take me down the technical road. Don't take me down the technical road. I'm not an astrologer, and I'm not competent to. But I'm just saying that there is it's present in your charts that you would have, fame is indicated. All
okay.
right. Fame is indicated in your chart. So if you make an effort, now you're not going to get famous just sitting on your backside and doing nothing.
That's
You're
true.
going to get famous. You're going to get famous if you make all the right moves. Then fame will come to you more easily than someone who doesn't have it in their charts.
दैट इज ट्रू। आई मीन ये नहीं हो सकता ना कि आपने भी कुंडली में लिखा हुआ है फेमस होना है, बैठ जाते हैं बस आप।
Exactly. Exactly. So that's exactly why, people confuse this. ऐसे बोला था, ऐसे हुआ नहीं. अरे भाई, like you wanted to get a job, you need to apply for it, no? You can't. Correct. You want to get the girl, you better propose to her. Like, kuch to karo. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So then in this space, I think lately one trend I have seen, I'm active on Insta quite a lot, let's say. Let's put it mildly. So there are a lot of ads now coming in and kicking in. First time I'm seeing, because I think this segment is getting very well funded. VCs
Yes.
are on this segment, if I can say so. These guys are making moves. So what do you think about what's happening right now?
I think it's there is though we've been around for a while and we've understood it's a flavor of the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's now, if people have understood, so they don't get into it for the passion of the space they're in. They don't get into it for, if you look at our vision is to, and it's very specific when it says that our vision is to help young people find guidance and happiness. Will the money come? Yes, it will. But it's a bandwagon and everybody has jumped on it, but they jumped on it with the full understanding that you're in an area which you have to be very responsible. You got to be damn responsible about what you're doing. You cannot be irresponsible. You cannot be exploiting. I mean, there's been a new, very big expose, so to call it,
What,
very recently.
what was
Nothing about the exploitation of the astrologer community, the exploitation of what is happening, because there are people who've got onto this bandwagon, and now you're only thinking one aspect of the business, but you're not thinking impact. You're not thinking this is a set of people who have been very revered for years, the astrologers, your pundits, etc. These are people who've been very revered. We can't treat them like a commodity, so to speak. And I think that's been one of our biggest strengths, and it's still one of our biggest strengths, is the fact that, we're asked that question often, that why are Astroyogi astrologers so loyal to your platform? I said, you should go ask them. You should really go ask them that what is it that keeps them glued to whatever. Because when you have empathy, you it's 360 degrees. It's got to be for your user, it's got to be for your partner, it's got to be for your employee. It just cannot be. So you know what, circling back to your point of, you're seeing a lot of ads.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's certainly yes, there are a lot of people, but do you really really understand what it takes to be in a business where you're helping hundreds and thousands of people day in, day out, and the kind of responsibility you're taking on? I'm really not sure.
So have you guys raised capital?
No, we're bootstrapped.
So how are you competing with your competitors who are left, right, center, ad throw कर?
I mean, but we're also no. So we're profitable. We're bootstrapped. We're growing year on year. We there is and we are the second largest player in the market. We know that there is someone out there who is funded, and that's fine. But like we know, we like I just told you, we know what our strengths are, and those strengths are something that are not easy. They're not, how can I put it? I mean, there's something that is more qualitative than it is quantitative.
And you brought an interesting point in terms of आपके astrologers हैं, like how do you keep them to not switching the platform? It's just one click away to onboard to another platform.
I have, yeah, Ashish, I have recordings of people who have been offered crazy amount of money,
Really,
and
you have to give me some numbers.
somebody, like, say, if someone's been offered, like, you come, we'll give you 50 lakhs.
Wow.
You come, we'll give you 30 lakhs, something, numbers like that. You come, we'll give you this. And they said, no, no, and I have this on record, not just written record, video recorded, that, we were offered this and they said, you cannot buy us. You cannot buy us. The kind of loyalty we have for Astroyogi and how Astroyogi has stood by us, you are not a patch on that.
Oh, wow.
And for me, that is the kind of endorsement. That's the kind of work I want my life to be about.
Wow.
That, you know what, there are that many people out there, and there are many other such cases. I mean, sometimes the reverence is really like, someone giving you the stature of their mother, someone giving you the stature of a deity in their home, that kind of a. But it's not coming from me, the person, but it's coming from the organization, what we stand for.
That's good. That's good money to switch. I mean, that's kudos to your organization and culture, I guess, for making them stay, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So one question which then comes to my mind is like, what is there any specific region why the older generation is not coming to these online platform, or they have access to or imagine to their own astrologers and they just go to them? Like, is there like any reason
Well, the older audience is there.
it's
The
there?
older audience is there. Yeah, yeah. The older audience is there, but it really depends on how many of them have adopted technology. If they've adopted technology, if they're okay to download an app and work through that,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, there is a more. And see, who is the audience that's not there? Maybe everybody who's in their 40s has been had good exposure to technology. So it would be just a much, much older audience that wouldn't be there.
And in
The
terms
rest are there.
of gender split, it's equal or male
It's
female?
equal. Surprisingly, it's equal. It
Wow.
wasn't in the beginning. It wasn't in the beginning because women did not have as much access to technology. I'm talking early years, very early years, but now completely. It's very much maybe a slight edge on women.
So then let's move ahead and let's talk about the unit economics of this entire business. I assume what I can little understand, it should be profitable business, right? The cost will be mostly astrologers, commission, payroll, etc., etc. So help us understand a little bit about the unit economics for this business.
Yes, very similar to what you're talking about. And then there are all the other, of course, there's a considerable cost which goes into marketing, brand building, the technology itself, the product itself is an ongoing process. It's a very the technology part of it, and having a solid product team, technology team is something that with features which are rolled out. It's not like, oh, I built this product and now I'm on it. There are new features rolled out every year, every month. There is something which we are changing constantly.
So, is there a number, Meena, in terms of for one astrologer can handle X amount of user base? Like, which as I sort of mapping, ki you need X amount of astrologers to be able to manage a user base of thousands of people or something.
There is more in terms of in units, the minutes of talk time, how many minutes on average can an astrologer speak, what is that, depending on how many hours they're logging in. So there's login hours, there's minutes, there's all of that, which contributes to it.
So, how does it work if someone sends a so let's talk about the platform. So they can select an astrologer, or it
Yeah,
goes to someone else automatically assigned by you guys, and in
no, no, you choose yourself.
you choose yourself.
You choose yourself. The first one is free, but even the free one you choose.
Okay.
You get it.
And how does someone then really pick? I assume there will be a lot of options available, etc., etc. And like,
We get a lot of people through referral. Lot of people, somebody has referred somebody, right? Someone has said, he's great, he's fantastic, or so and so is great, she's fantastic. That happens as well. Or there's a lot of trial and error. So, there's something like called try and buy. You could speak to someone, or we have our live shows. We have a lot of live shows. A lot of people, they're free live shows. You go through a variety of live shows and you say, this person resonates with me.
Uh-huh.
this person, and then they have a major fan following happening, and people can see their style of talking, people can see, oh, I like this person, and so then they say, okay, I'm going to go and privately have a conversation. So a lot of it's obvious, it's like friendship, right? It's also it's very personality based. Who is it that resonates with me? And then obviously once you've spoken to one or two, then there's someone that you find a comfort level with.
So does it also happen, Meena, in terms of someone identifying that person, this is a great guy, I want to talk to him, blah, blah, blah. And they can easily circumvent the platform and go to him directly, right? I mean, what is stopping someone from and save some amount of money because there are fees, etc., right? That should be a problem. No?
It should be, but it isn't.
Oh, really? Wow. 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 So
It
how
isn't.
how have you sort of, because what I have seen in most of the such platform companies, like everybody sort of dealt with this. That was a big concern in mental health space too, like they are therapists or someone else, experts they are connecting to. So how do you manage not to have such kind of issues?
See, there's a lot that we offer on the platform also, right? There's a 100% refund that's guaranteed. There's a lot of other perks that you get that you're not going to get in a one-on-one.
Okay. So those become sort of features which helps customer keep you on the platform.
Correct. I mean, it's like our food apps, right? Why what keeps us on a food app as well? We could go directly to the restaurant, but we don't. Simply because, sorry?
That's a good answer.
Yeah, there's ease, there's comfort, there's a lot of offers maybe also that are available, and the ease of a refund policy. Everything is very smooth. So yeah.
So now, what are your plans in terms of what where do you see the future is for this space?
So we've got two to three actually trajectories that we're on. One is, of course, the retail piece, which I just spoke about. That piece is very, very close to my heart because I really want to bring some of the rituals that we've had. And I did not grow up in a family. In fact, I grew up in Canada where I didn't have access to rituals. And I always wanted to understand them, and I couldn't understand them. And so I would like to bring the reasoning behind that back to the youth. So if you're doing something, why are you doing it? Kind of a thing. So that is one of the very, very primary things behind Yogi for by Astroyogi. So that's the retail aspect of it. The second is an academy that we have started for training people in the art of, occult sciences, be it tarot, numerology, vastu, etc. Because a lot of people reach out to us to say, we'd like to learn. How could we learn? Who should we learn from? And how should we do that? So, and then of course, AI. AI is, I know it's the new sexy buzzword that's out there. But yeah, AI is going to play a very, very big role in how not just us, all businesses are going to be run. And whether it's in terms of serving content and the personalization of that content, or it's in terms of helping our astrologers make better predictions. But it's never going to replace human intuition. It's never going to replace human empathy, psychology, and all of that. So that's not going to happen.
Is it because I recently saw one demo, very interesting one, where someone was showcasing the bot. The bot created a entire kundli and could, because at the end of the day it's science, right? If you know everything, blah blah blah, it can create that entire
Yeah.
piece of thing and then give you that sort of setup. A bot can serve many customers with more accuracy, whatever, without any emotions getting involved into the picture and have much more accurate thing. I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
So you said without any emotions getting involved, but human beings are emotional people. We are emotional people, and our emotions often are hijacking our lives at all the time. There are emotions that are hijacking our life all the time, whether it's for anger issues or love issues, or I'm feeling sad, bad, glad, whatever. The AI will, and like I said, it, and we will use it, and we are using it, right? But we are not, but when you come to human emotion, that is something that requires a human touch. That is something which requires a human touch. So while it will tell me something accurately, unless we come to a point where we are all robotic and we have dispassionate human beings, and those dispassionate human beings are saying, other than that, I think the human touch will always be important. I wish, oh God, now I'll have to remember off the top of my head. There are some very, like,
Yeah,
some very said no, some of them are just, but yeah, a lot of these, this, name and fame stuff does come. But again, I don't think that, but again, these are people's dreams, right? At the end of the day, they're people's dreams, they're people's aspirations. And there are some very sad stories also, Ashish. If there are some of them which are a little amusing at times, but
Mhm.
there are some which are really sad. There are really people going through some very, very serious stuff in their life, and
For
they're reaching out for help.
for ex-
Sorry?
for example, something you can share.
People, see, there are people who are, I mean, they're in a really, really bad space, emotionally in a bad space. There are problems happening in a marriage which are really have spiraled out of control, and they have no one that they can trust who they can talk to. So there are a lot of things like that, and you have to be, again, you have to be very, very responsible. We have something which, we have an astrologer app which has something which is known as an SOS button, and that SOS button is that sometimes you get people who are that depressed and that upset that they, are saying, I don't know what I would do with my life. There are and they're at that point where, I mean, they really could do anything. We then have an SOS button that sends out an alert to our customer support team, to another team as well, to say that this person needs mental help right away. And we send them all the helpline numbers. We, not, and I know we're the only app that's doing this, that we are being very, very responsible in sort of saying this person really needs help. So we are not, we should draw the line here. We should draw the line to, I can help you to this point, but you really need to go and get medical attention.
But isn't it like if someone is in, okay, let me put it in another way. Someone comes in, and if they don't get the response which is what they are expecting to hear, I assume that will be around 50% of the time, or not more or less. I mean, not everything will be in
Yeah.
what they expect to hear, right? Then that can also be a trigger point for someone who may not be at that stage of mental health, but hearing such things can also trigger and accelerate the process.
I think the astrologers are well trained enough to know that, listen, they are honest. So a lot of them will say, listen, I will not, do you want the real answer? Do you want me to sugarcoat it? Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm telling you, it's very much like a doctor. There are some doctors who will sugarcoat what is, and there are some who will say it like it is and say, now, deal with it. And sometimes users don't like it. They want to hear what they want to hear. But that's life.
That's
That's life. Kind of sucks sometimes.
it kind of sucks sometimes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, that's good. That's good. So then sort of moving ahead and then wrapping it up. So Meena, do you have any plans to raise funds since this segment is right now so hot? Some VCs are making bets in this space. Are you planning to raise any capital?
We could be. Again, it depends on who the partner is, what they bring to the table. I'm not going to say never. Right now, we've had a great bootstrapped innings, a fabulous bootstrapped innings. But yes, I mean, with funds, is there always room for accelerating your growth? It doesn't mean we won't grow, we will grow. But
True.
acceleration of growth, sure. But again, it depends on who it is.
So how long have you been bootstrapped?
For a very long time. It's been what? So the current business that we're in is from 2017.
Okay.
But before that, it was more into content and value added services.
Okay.
So that content and value added services was very, business partnership driven with all the telcos, etc. But the consumer tech business is from 2017.
So that was
Yeah,
a pivot sort of to enter into this.
it was a pivot. I've actually done two pivots. Yeah.
And what made you pivot in 2017? That I cannot remember any sort of.
I pivoted because tri regulations had changed in the VAS community. Apps were coming, and I had been actually pushing the telco partners for the longest while. That I mean, this is because we were running call centers at the time, that this is like, I mean, it's very unfairly skewed towards them, and it was just a pittance that was being paid to us and then to the astrologer. It was absolute pittance, and I had asked for differential pricing. So that's when I brought in differential pricing. I created it at that point in time myself, brought that in, and once I had brought that in, then I knew that I can now do this myself, because they were not able to do it for me. I was asking them to do it. They couldn't do it. They could not. Everybody had to be at this 10 rupee whatever price point. So I brought in differential pricing and on the web first, and then and then we moved to an app. We said let's go consumer facing and pivot.
Awesome. One final question, Meena. So, what do you do when you get anxiety? Do you use the app, or what's your schedule? What do you do?
Yeah. um, no, like I said, I am because I'm very, very, no, it's not like I never use the app, I do. But it's when I do I don't, first of all, I don't get anxiety. I don't allow myself to get to, no, I
Then
don't.
you're
I
not a good
think,
customer. You are not a good customer. Like you're
no,
saying
I
you're
think,
doing
you
it
know
like
what?
to have customer base.
No, I don't see, if you get anxiety, you can't run a business. If you're going to get anywhere in life, you cannot be, you can't be all in your head. Though I'm a bit of an overthinker, as my family will tell you, I am quite a bit of an overthinker. But I'm not. But I don't suffer from anxiety slash fear of whatever. I'm a huge believer of the universe. I'm a huge believer of वो सारी कायनात जुड़ जाती है आपको,
Yeah.
मिलाने के लिए, कुछ पाने के लिए, whatever. All of that. I'm a huge believer of that. I'm such a believer of that. I can just identify the signs of what is happening in my life in moments, in moments. Yeah, I know. I know. To people who don't really get it, then they're like, okay, you're weird. Okay, she's really weird. But the people who get it, they get it. It's something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Meena, for coming and sharing the insights. It's a very interesting space for sure. And yeah, we wish you all the success.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashish, and same to you as well.